To help kick off Pride Month, local law firm Webb, Kaysen and Manning funded 5 name changes for members of the trans and non-binary communities. For most, it's the final step that's just as personal as the transition itself, but comes with its own set of challenges.
One local woman shares her story of how she was able to cut through the red tape.
There's always a significance with, I think, every trans person that chooses their name. There's a significance that comes with it.
Katana Sanchez began transitioning into her authentic self in 2007. Back then, resources weren't as easily accessible in Corpus Christi, but even less so in her hometown of Del Rio. She began her journey as a student at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, working 2 jobs to be able to afford everyday bills, student loans, plus the costs that came with transitioning.
I have this kind of anxiety that I go through because there's this little voice in me that's saying it's not going to happen. So that mental stress was just in me all the time of like, well, how am I? And then not only that, financially, how am I going to afford it?
For the trans community, a name is more than just a word.
When you don't have your gender marker changed, being misgendered at the doctor's office, having them call your dead name out, or looking at your files and misgendering you because you don't have those documents updated.
A trans person's name change may not be the most expensive or grueling part of their transition, but it does require a strength that, in Katana's case, draws from her Mortal Kombat namesake.
I felt by taking that name and embodying, that name in my authentic self, I said, I'm going to also take on that warrior aspect and keep fighting, and not only for, my people, but also for myself.
It also requires jumping through legal hoops, which is why a lot of the trans community works with an attorney.
I personally don't do a whole lot of them, but we have done several.
Corpus Christi attorney Steve McMain says name changes are commonly done as part of divorce proceedings, but there are other reasons too.
There are attorneys in the past that have been more, I guess, kind of specialized, because you do get segments of the population that are doing name changes for different personal reasons.
For Katana, choosing her name was a way for her to connect more fully with the person she'd always felt she was.
It had to mean something to me.
And we do so appreciate Katana for sharing her story with us here at 3 News. We do have more Pride Month coverage on our website, KIITV.com, and keep an eye on more of those stories right here on the air.